What's up, YouTube? This September, my girlfriend Sydney and I embarked on the 60-mile hike of the High Sierra Trail, stretching from Crescent Meadow and Sequoia National Park up to Mount Whitney. It was quite the marvelous adventure, and we began our adventure at the Amtrak station in Sacramento. We hopped on the train en route to Visalia to catch a ride from there into the park, but we ended up catching an Uber from the Hanford Amtrak station. Just by chance, I checked the app, and someone was willing to give us the 2-hour drive into Sequoia. A nice man named Jeff, who had his wife sitting shotgun. It was quite the interesting ride. But we made it into the park, and we ended up staying at the Waxahachie Lodge. Honestly, it was a bit overpriced, and in hindsight, we probably could have just stealth camped somewhere within the park and began our hike the next morning. But we started walking from the General Sherman tree in Sequoia National Park, added a couple bonus miles onto the High Sierra Trail, but we just kind of wanted to do touristy things and admire these giant sequoias in all of their beauty. We spent some time taking videos and pictures, doing the whole touristy thing, and just admiring these trees.
It's 2 miles with Grandma. It was fun, but I'm exhausted. Nature's cooter. Gorgeous.
We took it all in, and we were both in awe of all these giant sequoias. We had both seen giant sequoias before, and as a kid, I had actually been to the General Sherman and this whole area within Sequoia National Park. Sydney had never checked it out, so it was definitely worth adding on the bonus miles to see these trees and just wander around and admire them.
Pretty neat. So neat. Ooh, that was just bonked my head. Wow. It's a big crack. Watch me, I'm gonna get birthed. A new baby is born. Wow. They're all hugging. I don't know. Just kidding.
After a few hours of walking, we made it to the trailhead for the High Sierra Trail in Crescent Meadow. We were both super stoked to start the adventure and get to walking. It was 60 miles to Mount Whitney from here, and we knew there'd be quite a bit of adventure in between. We had 6 days planned to complete the hike, and we couldn't be more stoked.
There's still some flowers.
I think we were both pretty quick to get back in the swing of things on trail. Both of us have thousands of miles under our belts, including multiple through hikes of national scenic trails. So we really feel back at home when we're out in the woods backpacking. There was some smoke when we first started the trail. It was from a lightning fire nearby. It didn't really bother us too much, though, honestly. I think we were just both so stoked to be out there, drinking from streams again and just being wild.
Ah.
Morale was super high despite any of the smoke. We were just so happy to be out there and taking in all the little things. We ended up making it to Merton Creek pretty early, which is where we planned to camp the first night. So we just decided to set up as it was a good water source, and they had a couple good flat spots to set up our new Z-Pax duplex tent, which we were both pretty stoked on. But yeah, we just enjoyed the night, played some card games, and took it all in.
Cozy town. Hot.
The next morning started pretty early. Vibes were high. Sydney immediately slipped and fell on the rocks.
First slip of the High Sierra Trail. Having his breakfast.
We were constantly amazed by the trail, and I was just super impressed on the trail work that had to occur for this trail to even exist. The trail was built during the Depression era, so it's just wild to think of the folks out there making this trail, just blasting the granite walls with dynamite to create this beautiful tread that we have today. It was just absolutely impressive.
Sunglasses though.
We continued hiking and climbing and approaching Hamilton Lakes, which was where we were planning on staying that evening. It's a beautiful alpine lake out there, and we were just excited to get to it, but really enjoying every step of the journey. And we started getting up into some more exposed granite, and the air started to clear a bit, which was very exciting as a lot of the views had been blocked by the smoke that we were in. But yeah, as we gained elevation, things started to clear out, and we were getting pretty stoked on that. We got to walk over the top of a pretty majestic waterfall, which added some excitement. You didn't want to slip and fall there, but Sydney's got it under control. And we made it across, and then it really started to open up. These granite walls and beautiful waterfalls were just so impressive. Continue making our way up towards Hamilton Lakes, and we really just couldn't keep our jaws off the ground. We set up camp at Big Hamilton Lake, making it a 10-mile day. So we were about 16 miles into the High Sierra Trail, and then you want to add on the bonus 4 miles that we did to the trailhead. So about 20 miles hiked so far. We were both feeling great, just taking in the beauty. So appreciative that the smoke had cleared when we got up to Big Hamilton Lake. Really just enjoyed our evening, had our dinner, some couscous with tuna for me. And Sydney, I don't remember what she ate, but something warm and cooked because she likes to carry a stove. I don't. Following morning, hit the privy up. Probably the most scenic privy we've ever used. We'll save those photos for another time. But yeah, we started hiking out of Hamilton Lakes that following morning, gaining some elevation, heading up towards Precipice Lake. We were real excited to see that one. On our way up to Precipice, we had the great pleasure of walking through this awesome tunnel that was built right in the side of the granite wall. Pretty impressive stuff. A bridge used to span across this drainage back when the trail was first built, but I think it only lasted a few years because an avalanche wiped it out. Pretty amazing, though, that they even built the bridge there, considering they had to carry each piece of the bridge in individually using pack mules or carrying it by hand. So it was all in little 6-foot segments. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, we continued hiking up, got up to Precipice. There was a little bit of snow up there, but no big deal. Pretty easy to pass. We did kind of want to camp at Precipice, actually, but we had heard that there was a lot of snow, so we scrapped that idea and camped a little earlier at Hamilton Lake, or Big Hamilton Lake, the night before. Ansel Adams actually shot a pretty famous photo here at Precipice Lake. It's the frozen lake and cliffs photo taken in the 1930s, which I thought was pretty cool. Ansel Adams played a big part in protecting the Sierras and just conservation in general, just through his awesome photography and whatnot. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. A couple other lakes as we hiked up. Actually got in one. It was pretty cold, but I enjoyed it. I was stoked. Nice little ice bath. But yeah, we kept heading up towards Quaya Gap and just endlessly amazed by the beauty. You know, little meandering tiny creeks and streams through the meadow into these giant granite walls. And then we got over the pass into Quaya and the adventure continued. After making it up and over the Great Western Divide, we followed the Big Arroyo for a while. It was super beautiful. Little smoky out down low, but nothing to really complain about. We were having a great time. We ended up walking towards Moraine Lake, which is where we were planning on camping that night. And it was off a little side trail that gets off the High Sierra Trail, and we definitely don't regret taking that. It was a super beautiful trail, and the camp spot was pretty awesome. Hiking to Moraine Lake made it a 13.5 mile day. We were both feeling super good, really no major fatigue or anything. I mean, we were taking it pretty easy and really just getting our legs underneath us. We had a nice dinner at the lake and got rested up and got ready for the next day. It was a nice brisk start to the morning, probably in the 40s, but quickly warmed up, and we continued to crush miles up towards the Kern Canyon. We continued to descend until we finally got down to the Kern River. Hiking down into the Kern Canyon was spectacular. Just the views were amazing. There was some lush forests to go through, and just some of the granite walls that we were surrounded by was incredible. We crossed over the Kern River on a nice newly reconstructed footbridge. Apparently the old one got washed out this winter, or actually spring, when the snow was melting and it caused the river to swell and take that bridge out. But yeah, we were stoked to be able to cross a nice footbridge, not have to worry about getting across the Kern without one. This was definitely one of the highlights of the trail, the Kern Hot Springs, right off the side of the High Sierra Trail, right next to the Kern River. Definitely wouldn't want to pass this one up. It was really nice to soak, loosen up our bodies, and get ready for the miles ahead. We ended up hiking through a burn scar through the Kern Canyon, but I saw a lot of beauty in it. It's really cool to see some of the new growth, but also just a reminder how fragile things are, just seeing how torched off this whole area got. But it was pretty short-lived, made it back into the trees in no time, and continued about our day. We made it to Wallace Creek, making it a 15-mile day. Super nice campsite in the trees. We enjoyed ourselves and got ready to crush it the next morning.
Oh, go crazy. On the high Sierra Trail. Beautiful.
The high Sierra
We
Trail.
are on the high Sierra Trail.
So we hiked from Wallace Creek up to Guitar Lake, and it was a pretty astonishing hike. Lots of awesome views, lots of beauty. We were back in the area of the Pacific Crest Trail for a bit, so it was just really good to be out there, and things were just becoming more and more impressive the higher up we got. Sydney ended up getting hit with a little bit of what she thought might have been some acute mountain sickness or something, and getting a little nauseous by the time we got up to Guitar Lake, but took some Dramamine and pressed on and enjoyed our night at the lake.
Hello.
We really had a great time at the lake, had a nice dinner, watched the alpenglow on the granite there, and really just took it all in for a nice early start the following morning. Those little lights you see there are the headlamps of people climbing out of Guitar Lake up towards Mount Whitney. We actually ended up setting our tent back up, though. Sydney's nausea hadn't really improved through the evening, and we just decided to make the call to stay until sunrise at Guitar Lake and then climb up Whitney and not do that early start. So, yeah, broke the tent down, set it back up, laid down for a little while, and then began our climb up. We pressed on. Both of us were feeling a little funky. I know Sydney was probably feeling a little worse off than I was, but luckily we got to the Whitney Portal, so there's only 2 miles left. She decided to just leave her pack there, and I would carry her water and whatnot, and we made our way up to the summit of Mount Whitney. Really glad we pressed on. We had escape routes planned just in case her conditions got worse or didn't improve at all, but she seemed to be doing fine and just had to take it slow, real slow up to the top. But it honestly made it more enjoyable, and I think we probably both would have felt pretty bad if we just rushed it to the top. We did it. We made it to the summit of Whitney and completed the High Sierra Trail from Crescent Meadow to Mount Whitney Summit. Our walking wasn't over yet, though. We still had to make it down the trail to the Whitney Portal, about 10 more miles to go. So we began our descent and still just soaked it all in, really appreciated the views. We knew it was coming to an end and really didn't want it to end at this point. but we had about 100 or so switchbacks to get down the hill, and I think it's something like 8,000 feet of elevation in 13 miles. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it was quite the adventure to get down that hill. It made for a pretty long day, but we finished our descent and caught a hitch into Lone Pine from the Whitney Portal with a couple of other hikers and got ready for our journey back home. It was nice. We ended up staying in a hotel that evening and then catching I think it's called the High Sierra Shuttle or something like that. It's a shuttle service. Took us from Lone Pine into Reno, where we then caught a ride with one of Sydney's friends home. So yeah, that concludes the journey. 10 out of 10. Would recommend it to a friend. Get out there, go hike the High Sierra Trail. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Follow me on Instagram @TheBobbyBlaine. Get after it and shred the gnar.